Hi guys, as always, I hope you're all doing well. Sunday marked the end of the weirdest season certainly I've ever experienced in my life, and I think most of us will say the same. But yeah, it ended with a very, very disappointing and frustrating 3-1 defeat at home to Bournemouth, who went on to get relegated anyway. Norwich, Bournemouth, and Watford were the three teams eventually who will no longer be Premier League teams next season. Villa managing to stay up by the skin of their teeth. So, um, yeah, and we saw obviously the biggest event from that day was the fact that after the game, Leighton Baines announced his retirement from football. Um, I'm still absolutely gutted over this, to be honest with you. I genuinely feel really, really sad. I don't think I've felt as sad about a player leaving probably since Cahill or before that when I was a kid and Rooney left, and obviously Duncan Ferguson as well when he retired. And yeah, I felt really, really sad. I think going into the game, we all kind of knew and expected that that was what was to come. And when we saw him getting substituted on later in the game, instantly he made an impact as well. Obviously, I know we went on to lose the game 3-1, but he made an excellent challenge on Callum Wilson that would have been, you'd have bet your house on it being a goal. So showing that he's still top class. I'm frustrated that not only the obvious thing being that we weren't all able to be there to give him the send off that he deserves, but the fact that obviously it would have been a known thing, I'm presuming, to the club and the players, etc., that it would have been Baines's last game. So to see the performance like that, and Ancelotti himself after the game said the reason we lost the game was because there was no motivation. Now, if you can't motivate yourself to get a good result against, you know, obviously Bournemouth were going to fight because they needed the win, but it's a team that's been relegated. We got turned over by them at home. You can't motivate yourself for Bainesy, someone who's been at the club for 13, 14 years, is a legend in his own right. Epitomises what it is to be Everton, and, to not be able to get the result, to lose like that. I was bitterly, bitterly disappointed and frustrated. And I'm sure that Ancelotti let his feelings known to them, and probably the likes of Seamus Coleman as well, because it's just not good enough. I mean, Bainesy's like the coolest cat around, and he so um, I'm sure the fact that there was no fans and stuff probably suited him in a weird way, because he always likes to kind of just go under the radar, get on with his business, and that's one of the things that makes him who he is. And it just seems very Bainesy the way it ended up happening. But no doubt it's us that are going to feel more upset about it. I'm certainly gutted that we weren't able to be there. Um, yeah, so it was a performance really and result that kind of summed up the season. There was high points obviously when Dunk came in and we had that surge again. We felt like we got Everton back. We had the really great win at home over Chelsea, and there's memories and moments like that from the season, but they're very few and far between. Obviously started out under Silver, and things just once they started to drop off, it was just woeful, wasn't it? We found ourselves in the relegation zone, like we've talked about, and to now find ourselves in a position where we have got Ancelotti, we need to be looking at the positives, I think, and they don't come much bigger and more positive than having a man like that in charge of your football club. But again, Sunday just highlighted what we already all know, which is how much work this squad needs. It needs to be a total overhaul. We've spoken about how it's more a matter of who stays, who do you want to keep, as opposed to who moves on, because very, very few of them have made cases to show that they really want to be here, or whatever it is. It's just not happening, and big changes need to happen. Ancelotti after the game said that the players that do return, that will be coming back, he's told them that they need to return with more motivation, more ambition, and it sounded very clear that it's obvious, I think, who he probably has already told everybody, knows who's going to be going, who's going to be staying. Um, and actually, out of those that you'd want to stay, Baines would have been one of them. You know, his attitude's there, and he's shown he can certainly still do a job on the football pitch. Obviously, Luca Dean's starter, but you know, I'd have been a lot happier seeing Baines still there. But it is what it is. Yeah, just so much needs to be done, and I think that Everton team that we saw, it's the last time we'll see a team like that. I think a good few of those will be gone in this coming window. There's obviously already so much speculation about transfers. I saw something about Ivanovic this morning when I woke up. I saw something about Ivanovic being a nail on to come to Everton, and I thought, I'm going off Twitter, honestly. Um, but the main thing to come out today was the quotes from Richarlison. Um, he said that along the lines of um, he's prepared to stay here for a little while longer. Ancelotti wants him to stay a little while longer, at least a season. Um, he wants to see, obviously Ancelotti's going to be bringing a lot of players in. Hopefully, we'll get the back in. He'll get the back in from the board and Mashiri to spend what he needs to spend and bring in who he needs to bring in the summer. And I think once we start to see who is coming in and the kind of calibre of players that are joining Everton, then that'll make Richarlison feel probably a lot more motivated and comfortable for the season ahead. Because look, his performances, he's been Luca Dean obviously right up there, and Calvert Lewin's been fantastic, and Holgate's done very well as well. But Richarlison's been the standout player again. Just looks world class and is still so young and improving all the time. All the big and the best clubs and teams are going to be after him. There's no doubt about that. Sky Sports reporting about Barcelona offering 85 million in January for him. So you never like to hear things. You don't like him talking about it and stuff, because as soon as he said anything of that sort, that's when the big clubs then are going, right, then he's open to the possibility of moving on if the offer's right and the club's right. And a player of his calibre, I struggle to think of many teams that he wouldn't get into. So yeah, if a big club comes into him with an attractive looking contract, obviously the prospect of Champions League football, he sort of suggested that they will sit down and talk about it, but he feels he is willing to give Everton another season. So you don't want to hear your star players talking like that, but I feel that he'll stay for at least next season. And we've got to just let the manager do what he's doing. And I think we're all very apprehensive and frustrated. We want to start seeing changes happening now. We want to start seeing the players come in so we can start to see a team being built. Because let's remember, there's only like 7 weeks or something till the season starts again. So, we've got to get the players in. We've got to get them training together and trying to build something. So every day that's passing, we're getting more apprehensive and more anxious to see things happening. And you certainly don't want what you see happening to be Richarlison talking about being open to potential offers and moves away. So I feel he will stay, and let's just hope we see players starting to come in sooner rather than later. We've been linked with Napoli's top striker as well, Immobile, I think, and various others. But every day there's a new name. So until we see them standing there with the shirt and the contract signed, contract Dave out on the scene, then I'm not going to get too excited or too carried away with anything. But we do need to see things happen soon because there's so much to be done. But yeah, in terms of, again, just to go back to Leighton Baines, because I think it's huge that he's gone. 420 appearances for the club, 39 goals, I believe, 67 assists. So many records broken in the Premier League for defenders. He, for me, is the best of my generation. He's the best left-back I've seen, not just in an Everton shirt, but at all. And, when you go into every game of Goodison every season, you're seeing every other team come there. You're getting to see, I've been privileged to see some of the best left-backs play. But for me, Baines is the best. I've never seen a left foot like it and a free kick specialist like him. And he's a massive Evertonian. He's just sound, isn't he? He's just boss, and I think it's a real shame that he's gone, and kind of that connection between the fans and the players. I know Ancelotti, he said that he was so desperate to get him to stay, and listening to him talk about him, he said that the door's open for whatever role, whatever he wants to do. And I think we will see him back. Hopefully, we'll see him back at Everton in some sort of capacity, because yeah, he's in his own right a legend at the club, and someone that will be greatly missed. But trying to think what else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, the goals as well that we conceded. I almost don't even want to dwell on it too much, because it is, the season's done now. 12 finish, just not good enough. We all know that. But there's just questions to be asked. I mean, all the goals that we conceded, the first one was the penalty, wasn't it? Richarlison obviously goes to get the ball away with his shoulder, and they look back at it. Given some of the ones that you see, given, not given, I think in my personal opinion, I think it's soft-ish, but it is what it is. Probably silly thing to do, doesn't really need to be done in the first place. King converts the penalty. We managed to get a goal before half time, which was great. That's the thing I wanted to talk about. Moise Keane, and how delighted I was to see. He gets the start, he gets the goal, and probably could have had a few more goals actually. Had a few headers on target and stuff that perhaps he could do a little bit better with, but given that he hasn't really had that much game time, delighted to see, as I say, him get the start and get the goal as well. And it was a lovely goal, lovely work goal, but to get the equaliser just before the break, and then still manage to go into the break behind is extremely frustrating. And it was a silly, needless free kick. Lovely delivery in, and Solanke of all people with the header. So bitterly disappointed with that. And you think, had it been 1-1 going in, I fancied us to push on and get a positive result, and that's the way you want to end the season. But our heads just sort of dropped. The motivation wasn't there, as we'd spoke about, and it was always a matter of a feel, really. Even we show positive glimpses, but you've got to be on it 100%. Bournemouth wanted it, needed it, and yeah, we didn't. So the third goal as well, so difficult to see goals like that conceded again. Jordan Pickford, I'm not sure quite what he's doing, and how that is going into the back of the net, but we've seen it too often, and again, just highlighting how much needs to be done. Every position, really, I think we could strengthen in, bar maybe a few. So massive summer ahead of Everton. Bramley-Moore, Doc, you've got the manager, but we haven't got the team right now, and that's you've got to be doing the business, you've got to be getting the results on the pitch first and foremost, and until we do that, it's difficult to get too excited. But I'm excited in the sense of what we're going to see happen in this window, so fingers crossed. And Moise Keane has said as well, I believe he'll be one of the ones that's coming back. He said that we're going to come back more motivated, more positive and ready, so that sort of suggests that he knows that he's going to be a part of Ancelotti's plans, which I'm pleased about, actually. I don't think we've seen anything like enough of him. I don't think it'd be stupid to be writing him off at this point, because he's not been given a chance enough, and maybe Ancelotti's the manager that he can grow under, and we can see more of what he can do next season. He is so young still as well, we need to remember that. He's so young, so maybe he'll be one of the ones that we see stay and push on. So yeah, gutted. The general theme is gutted about Bainesy retiring, annoyed as hell about the performance and the result, glad to see the back of the season, excited for what's to come in the window, but it needs to hurry up and start happening soon. But yeah, anyway, I'll have a video in a couple of days, guys. I hope you're all doing well and staying positive, and I'll speak to you all soon.